All right, episode 3. The day is finally here. It came sooner than we thought, I think.
People can't believe it. I've been reading the comments, and the people have gone wild. I'm predicting.
Everyone is dying to know, what does producer Ram Dog look like?
Yeah.
You know, they're blowing up the reviews, the comments,
They're clamoring for it, and so
we give the people what they want.
Yeah, partially. We did blur my face out completely. You are gonna have to join. You are gonna have to join. Bait and switch. Actually, we pulled on you. You have to join Nicole's Patreon.
Honestly,
right now.
With the stuff we talked about, you probably should blur out your face.
I really should. There's a couple moments in that episode where I literally was like, "This is not gonna be something that I'm proud to have said into a microphone."
We're gonna have a voice changer over here. I'm just gonna be fully exposed.
Yeah, you know what? You've decided
physically But it was fun. We had a lot of technical difficulties. I'm not gonna lie.
It was hard.
There's gonna be some video cutouts.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a big chunk of it that is gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll somehow try and make the video be something. But yeah, it's gone forever, and we're sorry about that because it was great. And which I think we say several times throughout it'll just be the legend of the cut 10 minutes from the third episode.
I'll come back and we'll do a fresh, non-interrupted version, and people will want to come back once they hear how good our fucked up version of the episode was.
I do like the idea of just having a rumored cut 10 minutes that was just the best 10 minutes of podcasting anyone has ever heard. And it's just lost forever.
And we have in the future we have sound card guys who are trying to figure out how to pull out this 10 minutes.
There's people who claim that they've seen it and heard it, Bigfoot,
for sure. I remember I used to pretend that I had heard Blink 182's first, I think they had a demo called Strings or something. I was really big into Blink 182 when I was younger.
Sure, we all were.
I'd never heard it before, but I definitely pretended I had heard it before. And this is way pre-internet, so there was no way I could have heard it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we were all like that. I feel like maybe not all of us, but I feel like I was a giant liar when I was a child. We all just wanted to fit in and be cool. Yeah. And we didn't realize when we were kids that it's pretty easy to find out when someone's lying, especially when you're a dumb kid. Yeah. But I told a bunch of lies just to either be cool or dramatic or But
and it's hard to not. It's honestly, it's if I do end up having kids, which in this episode I think the answer is pretty clear. I would probably I would have a tough time with telling them about lying and how to deal with lying because it works. Yeah. Lying does make you cooler.
It does, and
it works every time, folks.
And people generally forgive you for it because, I honestly have friends that I have a friend that I've been friends with since second grade, and I'm sure I told her some stuff that she now realizes is not true, and she's still friends with me. Yeah. So you know,
they learn to appreciate it about you.
I'm not that person anymore. But you go back to fourth grade Nicole. She had some. She had
a chip on her shoulder. Yeah. We'll just say that.
She had some pretty big lie. I think I might have brought a stuffed animal to school and tried to pretend it was real. I remember bringing one of my.
That's a lie or just insanity.
Yeah, I remember. This is my friend. I remember bringing one of my parents' old phones that didn't when they got a new phone and they just had an old phone that didn't work anymore. I brought it to school to make people think I had a cell phone.
And
they were turn it on, and I'd be oh, it's dead. I can't. Sorry.
Okay,
it just turned on for a second. You didn't see it, but it was cool.
Somebody who told me that they're holding a stuffed animal and they're telling me that it's real, if I was in elementary school, I would much rather sit next to an active shooter.
I mean, that's probably the same thing.
That's somebody who's no, it's alive. It's clearly not though.
Honestly, child Nicole had some issues.
Listen, little Ram Dog had a lot of issues. No judgment.
Yeah. Anyway, so
we go over a lot of them, but not all of them. Not nearly all of them.
So, we did lose that 10 minutes, but it's fine. The rest of the episode was super fun. We talked about a lot of stuff. This is very descriptive. This is very descriptive of the podcast. It was fun. We talk about a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
that's all you're going to get. You know, why would I ruin the punchline before it happens?
Yeah.
You know?
Just enjoy the episode.
Enjoy the episode. You're going to see Ramsey's face. And here it is, episode 3, Hot Dummies.
Everything hurts. Everything hurts. Fucking life sucks. Everything hurts.
So, do we know where it stopped?
We know it stopped exactly at 10 minutes.
All right. Well,
let's take a deep breath. Let's settle into it. What happened was frustrating.
Yeah.
Okay.
I stopped recording.
They probably missed. I don't know. We don't know, but let's just kind of recap what was likely missed in the previous session.
Well, I don't know.
We had pedophiles are, victims.
Dude,
well, I don't want to say victims, but you know what I mean.
I want
probably.
If there's something we can do with the sound on the video.
Yeah, if we could figure something, we'll put it up. But if not, it'll just be a piece of history that you and I got to live. That I thought was. We are recording now. Yeah. No, but. I mean, Effie was here the whole time. He heard the beauty of it. So
he did, yeah.
That's,
it'll be a moment between the three of us.
I can see why the drama just pulled him into the podcast. No matter how hard he didn't want to be in it. He's like, I need to know. No, we're good now. Thankfully.
Look, I mean, I'm not going to lie. You guys missed.
Yeah.
You guys missed a great conversation.
It's great. By the way, this is a good idea we could just do this every week. Is we could pretend that they missed a really good conversation. And just pitch it like they missed it, but you guys should still listen because next week it might happen.
Yeah.
This technical stuff, we were actually talking about it before as I was setting everything up, is going to be the death of me.
Yeah.
Because it's just like everything is always updating and changing and doing whatever and,
I feel like it's kind of like, in general, I was talking with a friend yesterday about just the maintenance that life takes in general, like just what you gotta do every day, just like you gotta fucking shower and you gotta fucking just all the things that you have to do,
and there's
just live, just to the bare minimum. It's so much maintenance, and I feel like it's the same with this kind of shit too.
Yes, and just like and the thing that sucks a lot about the way that life works that way is that you have to do so much shit, and then every year all of that shit is getting just a little bit harder because there's one more thing. Like if you were a comic 5 years ago, it was just like Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's that, folks. Like, hey, if you have a YouTube channel and you want to review fish or whatever you're into, but like those are the only two. And now it's like it's actually an insane thing to do.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. But there's this mounting pressure always on you as a human being to adopt the next whatever horse shit,
right. And it's the same with just like getting older in general. Like the older you get, the more you're like, yeah, you got to like do skincare if you don't want your skin to sag, and you have to like take more and more medications and shit to make sure that you're not in pain all the time.
Yeah. I've been talking a lot. I've been obsessing over the idea of the metaverse. Are you like at all privy to that?
I have no idea what I've heard it said so many times, and I have no idea what it is.
Ultimately, what it is, and by the way, this is all I wanted to do, is I wanted to turn this into a Metaverse podcast. Good. I wanted to twist my own arm into telling you what the Metaverse was. You guys
missed pedophiles and
you missed the really intellectual stuff.
But now we're gonna do Metaverse.
Sadly, the thinking stuff. You missed the real, high end stuff. No, but so the Metaverse is basically just like the third version of the internet, right? Mm-hmm. If you think about the internet right now, it's like there was one version of the internet where it was like AOL, and you just like you log in and you just kind of like read things, and then there was another version which is like the social media. You get to edit the internet. The next version they think is like a augmented reality. You put on like glasses. You remember Google Glasses?
Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't that kind of already exist? But
yes,
it was shitty.
It failed miserably, and sometimes things happen where like we're not ready for it as a society. Like the internet failed a couple of times before it exploded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't until like social media showed everybody how you could get it all profitable, which is of course what fucking is ruining life for everybody. But so the metaverse is like, what they want to do is they want to basically, Apple wants to put everybody in a world where within the next 10 to 20 years, no cell phones, we all have glasses, and the glasses are regularly telling us things about the other person, the world. They're giving us all this information. And people right now, the big debate is like, well, why would I put those? I would just opt out of those glasses.
Yeah.
But they will make them like, they will make them they will make them to your advantage if you wear them. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's like at some point, people who choose to wear them are just going to be better than you because they have more information than you and they have more things that they can do. You know what I mean? It's like saying like, hey, I'm going to opt out of social media. It's like, great. Well, people who've chosen to use TikTok are going to have 1 million followers and you're going to have 0 followers. Like, where's the benefit in that, for you?
How rich do you think you'll have to be to have that though?
That's like asking about, but that's like me saying like, you're going to be able to have this computer in your pocket and you're going to be able to do all this stuff. If I said that to you like, 40 years ago, you would think the same thing. You go, if you were a millionaire, but we'll enslave some South American country or whatever and take all the resources that we need to put into the phones and it'll happen and it'll get cheap. That's what happened with phones.
Good. Good. I'm glad. We're, we're really doing the worst to children.
Can you tell them
we're gonna make the children make our iPhones, make our metaverse, and also use them to lure in pedophiles.
We're gonna use
on YouTube channels.
We're gonna use children to probably make child sex dolls. I guarantee you, at some point.
You know what? That's a really good idea.
Well, it's on board.
No, I don't mean using. I don't mean using the children.
No. Hold on. Let me timestamp that one. That will be the clip for this episode.
And don't just cut it off after I say it. Don't even let me be like, no, that's not what I mean. No, it's a good idea to have child sex dolls.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because in concept, it sounds awful.
Yeah.
But it's doing a huge service.
Yeah.
Plus,
you get to fuck a child sex doll. If you want to.
I feel like people who aren't even pedophiles would do it just to be like, well, I'm
a traveling businessman. I'm not going to bring another full-size sex doll.
It's not a child sex doll. It's a travel size.
I wanted to have something that was a carry-on and if I check it,
oh my God.
You'll have to understand.
So funny. No, I do think that is how it should be pitched, because no one is ever going to go for, hear me out, child sex dolls. Like no company is going to be like, yes, we are going to travel size sex dolls.
Travel size sex dolls is to be honest with you, we may have to end this podcast to pursue that full time as an organization.
Travel size sex dolls with very flat chests.
Very flat chest. Yeah. Well,
because they have to be flat enough to
sold separately is what we'll say. We'll do a wink. Developed parts sold separately, and then
we are solving the world's problems on this podcast.
Yeah.
Starting with pedophilia.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's only taken 43 minutes of this episode here, but we can keep going. Yeah. No, I mean, we lost a lot of it, but it's okay.
Yeah. I do think that travel size sex dolls are. Do a lot of people even have regular sex dolls right now?
Not yet. So I love Alibaba.com. It's the Chinese eBay.
I actually at one point when I was like, I'm gonna get into the stock market, and you can do it like right from your phone.
Of course.
And I just Googled like, what should I invest my money in? Mm-hmm. And one of them was Alibaba. And I just liked the name. And so I was like, hell yeah. And I invested in Alibaba stock. And then I pulled out because I got scared.
Oh, well, you made a mistake. I mean, well, listen, you can always get into the stock market. I was, by the way, way into the stock market over the pandemic. Do you
have Alibaba stock?
You know what? No Alibaba stock. I got super into I just bought a bunch of Tesla stock. I would just throw all my money into Tesla. I was like, is that my phone going off?
someone's phone. It's mine.
But yeah, I went crazy. Anything a drug addict could get into, I could get into. And I was like totally looking at it. Like I really was going crazy over it. That and like cryptocurrency. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. It's the same part of your brain where you're like, I just want to like consume. That's the thing about like the ADD brain. It's like you need to have like a super highly pleasurable activity that you're always like pursuing.
Yeah. Well, and not knowing like it just produces because I was told because like I had depression, whatever. I was put on SSRIs and all this stuff. And then when they diagnosed me with ADD, they're like, oh, that makes sense. It's not just serotonin. You're missing dopamine.
Yeah.
And so like people with ADD, like they're missing dopamine. And like that's what that provides. That like, and that's why people with ADD will often like pursue kind of risky, dangerous things because it gets those dopamine
Get
things
you
firing
juiced
because we don't have enough. Oh,
I'm all day long trying to juice that dopamine. And you know what also sucks is there's also the depression and ADD like Venn diagram. At some point, people who are really stricken with ADD, because their life is such a fucking mess, because they can't get anything right, they become very depressed. And now you have a different problem. And then sometimes they show up to the doctors and they go, I'm depressed. And the doctor goes, here's Prozac. But then they get worse because they're like, I'm still not able to do the shit.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like fucking on this thing and I'm all fucked up. And now I can't come. Now I can't organize anything and I can't come.
Yeah. Been there. I've been there with Prozac.
Yeah.
Nothing will make you more depressed faster than not being able to come.
I wanted to like I just want to be clear to anybody watching the video that if you catch me looking here, it's not because I'm like autistic and can't look you in the eyes, but it's that I'm looking at this. Do you hate the way that what do we do with the word autistic? I feel like it lost all of its meaning.
It did. Well, I think comics use it a lot because we're like something's wrong with us, and like we can't pinpoint exactly what it is. We know that like there's certain things that are harder for us that aren't as hard for other people, and then there's certain things that are easier for us that isn't as easy for other people. So we're like, oh, autism, because that's just such a broad spectrum.
The other day, I was telling somebody the difference between bumblebees. Well, there's bumblebees. There's I watched a video. There's leather jackets or whatever. I was like watching a YouTube video on like the different kinds of bees. Like it just came up. Technology is honestly kind of ruining my life a little bit. It's ruining all of our lives.
You go down some weird rabbit holes.
Yeah, but it's because I choose to do that instead of the things that I should be doing. Right? It's like it's a drug. Yeah. But I was telling somebody like. I literally said two things. I was like, if they're super hairy or whatever, that's a bumblebee. That's actually what you're hearing is the bumbling. And if they're not, they're this other kind of bee. Yeah. And he was like, oh, what are you, autistic now? And I thought, well, like, where's life gone to where if you can recite two facts in a row, you're all of a sudden you're autistic?
Oh, man, you know things about stuff.
Yeah, it's like, what happened? Like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah. It used to only pertain to trains.
Yeah, trains. And now it's like if you know two facts in a row, you obviously something is wrong with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wasting your life because now you know things about bees.
I know way more about bees than probably most people.
How to catch a pedophile.
Oh, so easy.
And
there's this app called the Whisper app.
Behead a man.
I can tell you how to behead a man. It's not as easy as you think it's going to be. You use the Whisper app?
I've heard of it. It used to, Whisper Man. I said Whisper Man. No, I've heard of the Whisper app because like it used to be advertised on Facebook or whatever a lot. Yeah. And I didn't really get what it was. I thought it was like anonymous people confessing secrets. Is that what it is?
No, apparently it's just like a hot hookup site for pedophiles. That's where they all go.
Oh. So
all the pedophile hunters, whether it's Dads Against Predators or Pop Squad, I know all the different names by the way, or Predator Poachers, they all use the Whisper app and they link up with guys and then they
All right. I do have to draw the line at giving a guidebook to how to be a pedophile.
It's a good point. It's a good
There's
point.
this app, you guys, and
And you're right. I'm not going to give that away for free. You have to buy my ebook for that.
on the Patreon.
Yeah,
We'll put that behind the paywall if you.
it's a 16-page PDF that's going to change your life. I remember I did one time go down a rabbit hole of like, I literally, when I was young, like I'm talking high school, I went down an internet rabbit hole of like, I really considered buying a pickup artist ebook. But earnestly wanted to use it.
Considered, you bought it. You bought it.
Well, basically, what do you mean?
You mean you bought it?
Oh no,
You're saying you considered it, but you bought it.
No. Okay. Hear me out. And and I want to say this: the only thing that kept me away from it was at the time, $34 meant a lot more to me. Like at the time, it was at a time in my life where $34 was actually kind of challenging for me to like keep in my bank account. It's not too dissimilar right now, to be honest with you, but.
You do seem like the kind of person that could somehow like rip an audiobook off of something for free.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I used to be that guy. Now I'm very scared of it. I used to live in the house with Connor, one time like we had our entire internet shut off because like like we got like and we all got an email sent to us that was like, you're violating, whatever, internet copyright, blah, 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 blah. Like we're going to shut your internet off for a week.
Did you guys go on the dark web?
We didn't. Connor downloaded Jackass 4 or something like some hilarious reason.
Because I've gone on the dark web with Connor. Can I say that on?
Yeah. No,
will we get arrested for that?
The dark web doesn't mean. The dark web only means.
I was just so curious.
Internet that's not Google. Not everything on the dark web is bad. It's just Google is only a very small part of the internet. That's what's fucking wild about this shit.
Anything that's not Google is the dark web?
Exactly. If you can't find it on Google, it's in the dark web. That's essentially how you divide the internet. And 99% of the internet is dark web. Only 1% of it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking wild.
You can only find 1% of everything on Google?
Yeah. And by the way, this could also be something
There's so much on Google.
This could be something that a homeless man one time said to me, and I just sort of internalized it.
You just take things. You're like, I heard it one time, so now I'm saying it as fact.
I have to remember
we don't even know if bumblebees are actually furry.
I really have to state this multiple times, is that because of my background, first of all, there's I have a genetic, as you know, I'm Palestinian, but like I love an almost like religious conviction to something, and I will buy it and I look for it a little bit because it was something that was, I was a kid, so my dad that was my source of security, was a guy who was just like that. So if you come at me with some religious conviction on something, I will not even think about fact checking you. I will just believe you.
Wow.
So many things in life.
You'd be perfect for a cult.
Yeah. Well, the problem is I'm too much of an asshole still to. This is what I'm struggling with.
You get kicked out of the cult.
You get kicked out of the cult. Yeah, I'd have too much of a self-sabotaging sort of thing, or I wouldn't let myself be happy in the cult.
Right.
That's the problem.
You got to be happy in
the cult is fine. It's the part where in the cult I would realize, like, you know what, this isn't everything. It's that's the part that you struggle with.
You're like, I'm just not feeling fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what?
When's the part where you tell us to kill ourselves?
It's the best. That's the only reason I would join the cult is to do that.
Just because you need someone to tell you to do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I could. You know what? I don't even think I could. I can't even ever picture myself getting into that space. That's how you know it's such a fucking fucked up state of mind.
Yeah.
Although I actually have Googled the best way to kill yourself.
I think everyone's probably Googled that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I think if you ask 95% of people, if they're being honest, has Googled it just purely out of curiosity, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And also, or just like to be like, because everyone has had like, I don't want to speak in generalizations and say everyone, but I feel like ideations are like a very common thing.
Yeah.
And, I think that people think like, well, if I were to ever do it, how could I do it painlessly? Or, how could I do it the quickest, or because the fear is, you try, you fail, and then you're like paralyzed for life or something.
Yeah. Or you know, the other thing for me as well is that I also want to have a plan if I do it.
Of
so
course.
I don't want to, when the worst time to start planning is when you're suicidal, because you're just not going to be in the right. You want to have a clear.
You are not in the right head.
You're going to be dramatic about it.
That's why people have some like whack ass suicide stories. Like even mine. Like I took a bunch of pills and cough syrup, and then like I was drinking wine, so I'm drinking like Skinny Girl Moscato.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm still counting calories.
You don't want to be.
I don't want to be a fat.
You don't want to be fat and dead. Yeah, you want to be ripped.
But
the video just died.
Fuck.
It just happened
now.
though. It just happened because I was just looking at it 2 seconds ago.
Okay.
Do you want to finish this story and then I can reload the camera? We'll just have no video for this 3 seconds.
Sure. Yeah. What was my story? Oh, I'm just saying like that's why people just have like terrible suicide stories. Like I know someone who tried to like drop a rock on their head. Like
it's because you get
fucking Wile E. Coyote.
You get in the wrong space.
You're like you're not even like yourself at that point. You're just like I need to do something, and yeah. So I do think it's hard because when you to make a solid plan, you got to be in you gotta really be in a good headspace.
I think I don't know if it's the Danish or it's one of the European countries that people think is better than America, but it's just not. It's a different thing. You know what I mean? They do an assisted suicide, and I think I was reading that they said that the most painless way to do it is with a plastic bag over your head and with helium. Apparently, it's very painless. But I guess your final screams for help will be hilarious. That's kind of cool too.
I mean, would you be screaming for help though?
I think you instinctively do. Yeah, you've seen those. We've all seen the documentaries,
right? Because your body like wants to live.
What really keeps me, and I'm very. Everybody should not be suicidal, and if they are, obviously, what a horrible life. That documentary where the dudes, I think it was mainly men who jumped off the bridge and they all regretted it basically. Oh no, was it not all those guys? There was some movie where they were interviewing somebody who jumped off the bridge and survived the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah. And just hearing him be like, my absolute first thought the second my legs left was like, I regret it. I just sort of know that's going to be me. I just know it is.
There was a poem, and you're going to laugh at me, but it was on BoJack Horseman. Like, I think it was like the last episode or maybe the second to last episode. And it's called The View from Halfway Down. And I like wrote it down and like had it in my room for a long time, just as kind of a reminder. And it's this whole poem, and it's about like that feeling, and it's like so sad and so like emotional, and it made me cry. And
I felt that feeling about something way less, and just feeling like I felt that way when I started watching a movie. What movie did I see recently? I was watching a movie recently, and within the first like 10 minutes you're like, fuck, I'm gonna be here. It was Don't Look Up.
Oh, yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
I started watching it, and I realized 15 minutes in, like, I'm going to be here for 3 hours. Like, this is a fucking rough one to watch or whatever. Yeah. That regret bothers me a lot, the way I felt in that moment. So I can only imagine the moment of jumping off of a bridge and going, like, fuck. Like,
you're like, I've committed to this.
I feel, yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe, like, I feel like I'm never going to be able to successfully commit suicide because of my commitment issues.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, that's rough.
It's a lot of commitment.
It's hard for me. We were talking about getting a puppy. I was like, that's a lot. That's going to be a big commitment. So to commit to suicide, that's like,
puppies are so.
You got to be in a bad place.
You really you've got to be in a bad place. You
Both
really
to
do.
Commit to a puppy. And I feel like a lot of people during the pandemic were like, I'm going to get a puppy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because they were just like in such a terrible place that they're like, I need to like pour all of my, sadness onto another being.
I have such that's so, but that's an interesting mindset. I respect that mindset. I wish like the idea that like I'm gonna take on that much more, like I'm gonna like love something, I'm gonna care for something, you know.
Yeah, some people have that, or I think a lot of women have are supposed to have that. I
Yeah.
feel like I don't, and I should, but but like they feel better when they're taking care of something.
Yeah.
You know?
I felt like the pandemic, I was looking to let go of as much as possible. Like during the pandemic, I could have killed either of my brothers, no problem. Like instead of like getting a puppy, I would have been happier getting rid of somebody in my family, just gone forever.
Yeah.
Just one less thing to love versus one more thing too.
Right. Yeah.
Do you want me to turn the camera on, by the way, now?
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
I wanted to pick a really depressing note to move on before I turn the camera on. Hang on.
It was perfect that we were talking about suicide, and then the camera's just in complete darkness. It's
Okay.
perfect. See, this is the problem when your producer is also your guest. Is
Yeah.
it's harder for you to keep an eye on things.
People who listen to this are gonna be like, that dude is insane. Because I seem so scatterbrained, but it's literally because the two hemispheres of my brain are currently being engaged at the exact same time. Where it's like, comedy is like left side, and then like looking at all this shit is so right that I'm having like a meltdown a little bit.
Yeah, no, I can tell. That's why like every time we're laughing and having a good time, it's like, no, we're cutting off now because
I have to look. That's why anytime somebody says something funny now, I like panic because I go, was it on? Okay. It's on. Yeah.
We're here for you. We're here for your meltdown.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm okay with meltdowns now. I'm like, whatever, just have them.
I've made it a brand.
Just
honestly.
do your thing. Yeah.
Well, not so much anymore. It's crazy. I think about like a few years ago, maybe like 5 years ago, when I was just very openly crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And not crazy, depressed, very openly depressed.
No. Crazy was right. You nailed it.
I mean,
Okay.
like there was a point where like I like disappeared and the police were called, and because people were like, Nicole's gonna kill herself, and like that's the reputation I had, was if we can't find Nicole for 2 hours, then we need to call the police.
You're right. That's not good. That was not good. I remember when that happened, some people came to me, obviously because our house generally was like a very Nicole friendly area, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but when someone mentioned it to me, it's like, this is how crazy I am, that I was like, yeah, what? So sometimes you want to disappear for 4 hours and go, you know, and be off the grid.
That's really what it was.
Like, I was looking at it as a fellow crazy, where I was like, it's totally fine.
Sometimes you just want to go sit under a bridge and cry for a minute, and you don't want anyone to see. Dude. Contemplate jumping into traffic, but not actually do it. You know?
It's like if you're gonna hold somebody's super dramatic tweet, you know, that they're sick of it all and they're sorry, and the fact that they turned their phone off, you're gonna hold that all against them. It's like, what does this country even become anymore? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. I was very dramatic.
Yeah.
During that time in my life also, but you know, we live for the drama. That's
that's the motto.
We live for the drama. It's but
not to be confused with TNT. Who knows the drama, we live for the drama. And
I don't want you guys to think that I'm not open with everyone anymore. You know, trust me, if I'm suicidal, I will let you all know.
Yeah.
I'll make it the final episode of this podcast. Will be my suicide note.
Yeah, and then we'll have.
I stay vulnerable with the fans. Yeah. I promise.
Yeah.
But it was at a time in my life where I was like extra, you know, crazy and depressed, and also had no. You know what? I don't think I'm less depressed. I don't think I'm less crazy. I think as you get older, you just have better coping skills. Mm-hmm. And like, I just had zero coping skills at 22.
Yeah.
Because who does, you know,
nobody does.
Unless you were like forced very, very young to like become there are people who are, and it's sad, don't have a childhood because they're forced very early on to be an adult.
All
but
of my
even
most-
then, you don't have good coping skills because you were forced way too young to be an adult.
Yeah, there's different types of coping skills for sure. Yeah, but nobody I think fully knows how to cope with anything or deal with anything when they're 23, 24. It's just a matter of how bad were you fucked with those first 24. And some people, you go like, they're fine because they weren't fucked with all that much. So when they were really emotionally stupid, they weren't putting themselves in like crazy dangerous places,
I started comedy.
Yeah.
Started comedy, had my first heartbreak, everything all at once, kind of publicly.
Oh, really?
Well, just like
that was your like break, your first was that your first depressive spell?
No.
Okay.
No, that wasn't my first. It was my first. I had my first heartbreak during that time.
Okay.
I had my first. No, I was super depressed in college before I started comedy. Leading into starting comedy, also just when I started, I'm learning that it might be very hormonal because it was when I was 14 when I started going through puberty that it really started. So
yeah, crazy, all stuff out of your hands that you would have had no idea.
Yeah, but I do think that when I was 22, I started comedy, and which is a lot, and also just like living by myself for the first time. Yeah, going through my first heartbreak. I was a late bloomer. I lost my virginity very late. I had my first heartbreak very late. And yeah, it all kind of happened at once while being depressed, while I hadn't figured out my medication yet. I was on antidepressants, but not the right ones.
Yeah. Oh, that's always a fucking mess too.
Oh, I was on the wrong ones. I went and like Googled the ones I was on. They were like a new medication. And here's what's like fucked up about doctors. I think they like, they're like sold, like they have those hot pharmaceutical reps, right?
Yeah.
That like,
I honestly wanted that job so badly for a little while as an adult.
you got to be a hot girl.
Well,
I think that's like that's the hot girl job.
A lot of hot female doctors. Now this is this is 2022, Nicole. You got to get your shit together right now. There's tons of hot chicks that are doctors, and honestly, some not so hot chicks, and they're gonna need lover boys too.
That's true.
That could be me
That
coming
could
in
be
selling Valtrax or whatever.
Yeah, being charming the lady doctors.
I could do like if there were some older lady doctors, I could charm them. Like,
oh, I'm sure you could.
Like 60s and 70s.
Oh, Ramsey, you could full on charm a 25-year-old hot doctor.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go for it. When they're in their 60s, I feel no pressure. I feel no like. So I'm crushing it. But if they're under, that's my age limit, by the way, on Tinder, 59. That's where I set it to. If they're under 59, I feel sexual pressure.
because you could potentially have
because
sex
it could potentially get there.
Yeah, I mean, I respect that. You would have sex with a 59-year-old woman.
In a heartbeat.
59-year-old women look great these days.
Oh, 59-year-olds, they look awesome.
Yeah,
they're looking great. Listen. In a few years, I may reach a place where I'm mature enough to say, yeah, even a 65-year-old woman. But right now, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, you could troll the retirement homes.
Yeah,
you could become a volunteer.
I could be one of those volunteers that we talked about.
I don't remember if that part was even recorded when we talked about that. But
that was gold too. God damn it. Ooh, life is so unfair.
But yeah, I don't know. They have the pharmaceutical reps who are like, here, do this medication. So then they push that medication. She had like samples of this medication. It was a brand new medication and it was so expensive. I remember I had insurance at the time and it was still $80. Whereas like Prozac with insurance is free.
Yeah.
So like this medication was expensive as fuck. It was new. She had a bunch of samples of it, so it like for sure was just like being pushed in general. I never really did any research on it. I just kind of like was like, well, it's a psychiatrist. It was my first, it was my first jaunt with a psychiatrist. So I was like, they know what they're doing. So like I just took them without like, even thinking about it. And then later on, after I, tried to kill myself, I looked up the reviews for it, and like all of it was like do not take this. It made things worse.
Yeah.
I never felt suicidal before. I felt suicidal afterwards, like after I took it. I think this medication made me suicidal because I was depressed. I was not suicidal.
Here's the thing about those reviews, Nicole. You can't take them too seriously. They were literally written by crazy people. They were literally written by some of the most insane people on the planet.
That's so true. It's so funny because my psychiatrist's office does not answer their phone. And like, I want to yell at them because I'm like, you understand that you're dealing with people who, if they don't get the care they need, are going to kill other people or themselves, possibly. Not to, make mental health stigma a thing. But like, if you're on a medication and then all of a sudden you run out or whatever, like you're fucked, And so like, I want to yell at them, but then also when I call them, I want to come off as sane as possible because I don't want them to write me off as a crazy person.
Yeah, of course, of course. So you got to be.
So it's like, how do I properly yell at them?
Yeah.
Without them being like, oh, she's just crazy.
And now you got to be manipulative, and now you're dealing with shit that they're trying. It's like now it's getting even more fucked up. It's a problem. The issue is that it is just a relatively new science, like as far as things go, and people are skeptical of it for that reason. But in reality, is like, 40 years in terms of medicine is not that long, but for in history, it's a blip in time, So, and
not to diminish, like, look, medication has done wonders for me.
For
but
sure.
You have to be careful.
And you have to know that too, right? When you stepped in, like some people try it once and they go, oh, it's not for me, or they kill themselves, or they,
you have to know it's going to take a while to both, even when you find the right one, it's going to take a while to balance out and like really start working and everything. So, but it's a nightmare, and like, I want to say this, because as someone who has like gone through the works with medication and has tried to go off them so many times because I'm like, I don't need this. It feels unfair that you have to take it.
No. For reals?
What happened?
Wow. Bob Saget
died?
Wow. That was by the way, that was like our George Bush 9/11 moment, when when the Secret Service came in and he whispered it while I was at the kindergarten. Whoa.
Holy shit.
I wonder how he any word on how he died?
I think a heart thing. It just came up in my
holy shit. Yeah, my boyfriend just
died at the age of
65. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
A few more years I would have fucked him.
Wow.
Come on, that was for Bob Saget.
But no. I think he would have liked it.
I think he would have liked that joke.
I'll tell you, he was on Historical Roast, which I wrote on, and when he came into the writer's room, he was delightful, by the way. He was like a delightful man. But the first thing, like, we wrote the script specifically for Bob Saget. We're like, we got to have a couple jokes about like a finger in a butt or something. Yeah. And he was like, I love this. It's perfect. He loves it,
He's from what I understand was a fun dude.
Wow, that's really sad.
Really sad.
My boyfriend just like walked up
okay,
and then held up a note.
Like he was going to rob us. Like at a bank though, something like that. Somewhere where you would use a note in a robbery.
But wow, that sucks.
Well, listen.
Breaking news.
This is all the more reason why you got to get on.
It's going to be released in like a month, and it's going to be old news.
Well, yeah, I know. It'll be incredibly, incredibly old news.
Yeah.
It'll be so old. Well, they'll know what our life was like when it happened.
Yeah. R.I.P. Bob Saget.
Yeah.
I do think that he we were talking about this the other day because we were talking about Betty White dying and how fucking sad it was. Mm-hmm. But it's and I'm sure Bob Saget too, just like they lived their life all the way up until they died.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a slow decline, which is almost like sadder to watch, of just like they're not even like there anymore.
That's why people do it. Yeah.
Bob Saget was fucking his hot wife.
Yeah.
That might have been how he died.
Yeah. Completely.
Like that might have been how his heart gave out.
If that's how his heart gave out,
fucking his hot wife.
I think that's the best way to close that book.
Me too.
What if we just read it right now? Because we don't know. What if we just read that he just fucking shot his own heart. Like, it's so sad.
No. Bob Saget died fucking his hot wife, and
that's what we're gonna believe.
That's what we're gonna believe. You know, all we can do in life is choose. Like, you can choose to believe anything.
Yeah.
If it makes you happy, choose to believe it. As long as it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Choose to believe whatever the fuck you want.
I kind of, I'm fully on board with that. The hurting, it's like, that's when it, obviously hurting somebody is when it becomes an issue. I have an issue, the Facebook thing, right? Everybody's always like, God, but old guys are going, QAnon is going crazy on Facebook and they have all these opinions. But some part of me feels like Facebook is giving them that outlet. You know what I mean? So they're believing what they believe, and they're just sort of like kind of living in that world. And that's not such a bad thing, because otherwise these guys, I feel like, would be doing way worse things.
Here's the thing. I do think that having crazy beliefs like that, it gives a feeling of, if you're feeling out of control, it probably gives you a sense of control. You're like, I'm the only one who knows the truth, and I'm going to like dive into it.
Yeah.
And that gives you a sense of just control when the world doesn't make sense. And we were saying this earlier, just the hardest part of being alive is just like the fucking world doesn't make sense and there's nothing you can do about anything. And so like having that sense of control of like, no, I know the truth. And if I can get the truth out to everybody else, then they'll know the truth and then the world will be solved, you know, or whatever. So like, as long as it's not hurting anybody, let people have crazy beliefs in it.
Yeah, it's like when they stormed the Capitol, they killed one guy. I could argue that honestly, if you looked at the statistics, that's about as many people as usually die around there.
I mean, I guess it depends on who this guy was. Like, you know,
I think it was actually a woman, Ashley Babbitt. I think it was a lady. So you know, she was doing some crazy shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd feel better if it was a guy. I feel like if it was a guy, it's more likely that.
Hear me out. This is why I think she was doing some crazy shit. You're at a Capitol. You're a police officer. You have a gun. You're surrounded by just giant, insane people, all of which who look insanely threatening. And the person you killed was her. I feel like that means that she was doing something that was way more threatening than, you know, all of the guys who look like ZZ Top security guards.
Was she white?
Yeah, she was.
She was
like
Ashley.
Yeah. Yeah, she was.
Oh yeah, if you're a white lady and you get killed,
you were doing some crazy shit.
You did something.
You did some crazy confident shit.
I mean, if we're wrong, I'm sorry, but
listen, I don't know if there's a lot of sympathy for her, to be completely honest with you. She was doing some crazy shit. She was storming the Capitol. She wasn't there to she wasn't there to try to stop them. Like, she was on the the bad side, depending on, you know, where your political beliefs are at. We're not going to tell you what to choose. Yeah, that's not this show.
You choose to believe what you want. I choose to believe that you know, I'm gonna start choosing to believe, because we can choose to believe whatever we want to believe, and I can choose to believe that I am like the fucking hottest woman in the world, and that is what we should all do.
Yeah, we were talking, I don't know, did any of the Metaverse stuff get on the first recording? I think it did.
No, yeah, we came back on
Metaverse.
Immediately talking about Metaverse.
That's what people are, that's the opiate that they're going to be essentially doling out, is the idea that, you know, when you put on the you know, TikTok filter and you look way hotter, like you actually look about 2 or 3% hotter. They have this like thing that they do. What if I can give you glasses and when you put them on, they make you 2% hotter when you look at yourself in the mirror, right? And so that's kind of a cool thing. And then not only that, but they make everybody else look 2% hotter. And you know what? Maybe it'll make your boobs look big enough to where you don't want the augmentation, because those filters are not that like crazy. Like, we're not that far off from that right now when you just hold the phone up and you're a dog or whatever you want to be. So that's where the Metaverse stuff is eventually going.
Well, but could you make yourself look hotter to other people?
I think so. I think if you choose to opt into it, I think that there's going to be a lot of those questions that will eventually be answered. That's, people will put those things on and make their homes seem like they're better than they are as well. It's a lot of like the philosophical shit that they.
You know what is actually great about that?
Yeah.
Is if everyone can make their home themselves, look however they want, then all that's going to matter is what's inside.
By the way, this is going to be awesome for married couples. You guys are just going to be like, you know what? I'm looking at somebody else today while I'm fucking you, and she's looking at somebody else while she's fucking, and it's just it's great. You have a bigger dick if you want to have a bigger dick. You have have your body, have whatever.
Pretend. I mean, this would be the sweetest version of it. Is like pretend you're fucking the version of me that you first met. You know?
Sure.
Make it the younger version of me, unless you met me when I'm 5. Although that is the next step after child sex dolls.
Is that? Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, that's very true.
Fuck me as a child.
I'm gonna lay down the law with my significant other and let them know. Listen, I will not fuck anybody in the regular verse. The metaverse, it's off limits. Yeah. You can't rule me over the metaverse. That is not at all. You know, it's not the law of the earth.
That's fair, because that's like telling them that they can't watch porn.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm opening up my own. The problem is there's these like boundaries that we don't even know that we're supposed to draw, and then next thing you know, you're deep in them, and you don't even know like what is. Did I just violate some kind of a boundary? We didn't know better. I wish I could go back in time.
That's what men say when they cheat. I didn't know, and then next thing I knew, I was deep in them. I don't know. Like,
wow,
look, we never specified.
It's complicated. This is why I always try to get every relationship started with a contract, written, formal, 11 pages, nothing too long.
We actually did this.
This is a good
sort of. I mean, like it was more of a verbal contract.
This is a mature thing to do.
Have we talked about that's
no.
like how my relationship started?
If you're comfortable talking about it.
Absolutely. So when my relationship started, it started out like I fucked him within probably an hour of meeting him. Mm-hmm. It was not intended to be a relationship.
Sure.
And we had a lot of differences. He was polyamorous in all of his relationships before me, or like for the last, however many years. And I've never been that.
Yeah.
And we just, we had a lot of differences, but we ended up just liking each other so much and eventually loving each other so much that we were like, well, we have to figure it out. Mm-hmm. We have to figure out a way to do this. And at first I was like, well, maybe it's just like this, like maybe it'll be like this exciting relationship in the beginning and then it'll fizzle out. And then, because I was saying before I met him, I was talking to a friend and I was saying, wouldn't it be great if you basically made a deal with somebody? Okay, we're going to have a 2-month relationship and then walk away.
Yeah.
No hard feelings.
Terms.
No, like it just, we're going to have the fun part of the relationship. We're just going to, these 2 months. So basically, because it was right at the start of the pandemic, our relationship, when we met, we were like, and obviously we did not know how long it was going to go, but we were like, all right, we're pandemic boyfriend and girlfriend essentially. Yeah. Because also, who else are we going to go fuck? Because,
let's set the term for something with a clear end date.
So we were like, we basically set terms where we were like, we're going to be monogamous for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then we renegotiate the contract in 2 months.
Couple of goats change hands. I'm familiar with this.
I do think that like a relationship should be that way. It should be a constant contract that's being renegotiated.
Here's the problem with it. And you're right. You're 1,000%
because
right.
you're constantly choosing to be together and you're constantly choosing the terms of your own relationship, because your relationship can be whatever the fuck you want it to be.
Yeah.
And you're constantly choosing what you want and you're constantly choosing each other. It doesn't sound romantic, but it is, because I think we have this thing where we're like forever, we're like, we're going to be together forever. We get married. We're together. This is a contract saying we're together till we fucking die.
Yeah.
Why? Why not have it be like, all right, we're together for the next 2 months.
And it's just
and then we decide whether we want to be together for another 2 months.
Then your contract is up.
Much more romantic than being like, well, I guess I'm stuck with them forever because I said 5 years ago that I would be.
Okay.
And yeah.
We got it. I got it. Okay. So it's a website. It's almost like where we write these terms for relationships, right? Mm-hmm. Then when the contract expires, other people have the opportunity to purchase in on the contract. So
what do you mean?
Almost like a professional, almost imagine like a professional athlete where it's like, look, he plays for the team for this season, but then his contract is up for negotiation. He can go.
Someone can come in, more.
Someone can come in and go, listen,
here's what I have to offer.
Here's what I'm bringing to the table. I'll buy this contract out $500.
Then people start to get relationship agents.
Yeah.
They're like, look, here's what she's bringing to the table. She's got D's. What do you have? You gonna maybe upgrade to some D's for them? You know.
You have no idea how much better my life would be if I could have a relationship agent. Somebody come in and just do the fucking straight talking for me. You know, it's like I can't speak that way about myself, but an agent could do it for me. I like this. Okay, cool. I'll get working on this right now. This goes along with our travel size pedophile companion.
It's an interesting concept. It's an interesting.
That's where it gets interesting for me because I go like, I'm with you 100%. The most mature thing you can do is go, here's what I know I need. Here's what I like. Here's what I don't like.
You're also, it keeps people from getting complacent.
Yeah.
Because, and I feel like honestly, and I think men are gonna be all in on this, but I think who it would end up working out for is women.
Meaning that eventually...
in a heterosexual relationship.
You know what's going to happen is the 1% is going to control more of the world. Is you're just going to be richer dudes just getting out there buying contracts. And then we're going to lose all of our girlfriends to Jeff Bezos.
No, but here's the thing. It would be a reminder every so often.
Yeah.
Of how many choices your girlfriend has.
Contract is about to expire. Yeah.
And how many choices you probably don't.
Sure. Hey, you know what? Here's what I've come to learn as I grow older. I think there's always that chicks can have way better choices, but you realize men have just as many choices because as you get older, those standards really start to drop.
That's true.
I used to feel insecure about being a shorter guy, but I'm realizing
you're not even that short though.
Yeah, but I was insecure about it when I was younger. Yeah. But now I'm realizing no. Only 25-year-old super hot chicks care. Everybody else is like, yo, I gotta fucking I gotta eat too, you know?
Well, now it's a thing. It's the short kings.
Oh yeah.
Short kings are a thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's because women, it's like women, there is not enough tall guys. It's a very scarce currency, you know? So
thick queens, short kings.
Yeah.
They're out there now. They're killing it.
But we all know what we want. It's just, are you going to get it?
You're right. It's 25-year-old girls. And for women, I think we had that moment too of in high school, guys were every guy, didn't matter how ugly the guy was. He was like, I deserve the hottest chick in the school, you know? And so every girl who was even just kind of decent looking or kind of pretty, whatever, if they weren't the hottest chick in school, they were I'm ugly and nobody wants me because dudes were just stupid and they were dumb. They were just only fucking big tits, big ass, small waist, blonde hair for me. That's, and maybe that was just where I grew up in Orange County. But
that was definitely Orange County. But there was always a super hot group of people in high school.
Yeah.
And I think was not of the mindset of the hottest chick for me. I was very clear very early and often, you're getting whatever you can find here.
But guys who have that mindset aren't the ones going out and asking girls out.
Not even close.
So that's the issue. Is the guys who have the confidence, whether they're hot or ugly.
Yeah.
The guys who have the confidence to ask a woman out are also the guys who have this delusion that they deserve the hottest chick.
Those dudes are so fucking cool.
Well, I mean,
come on, let's be honest.
They work at State Farm.
And by the way, they're crushing it at State Farm.
I had a specific guy in mind from high school that now works at State Farm.
I guarantee you that the data shows that this guy's crushing it at State Farm.
I'm sure he is.
He's fucking closing
and I'm
left
sure he's
and
very
right.
Happy.
Life insurance, cat auto home. He's bundling him up. He's fucking crushing, dude. These guys rock, man.
He's charming all the old ladies into
signing the thing. That's kind of good for him. I wish I would have done it.
But I do think that like girls after they graduate high school, they start to realize that like, because all those guys, they come crawling into your DMs or when when you're like 23, 24.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, here you are, because they realize that those girls don't want them.
No, those girls have all found the internet themselves.
And they also realized I'm funny.
Yeah. And they've changed their values.
But I don't think
no high school guy was saying that this girl. Well, I mean, I guess it did matter, but I would say that as you got older, or as I got older, for me, that was something that definitely became obviously more like appealing.
You start to realize if I'm gonna be around someone all the time,
it's a big
then
deal.
like I want them to be like my best friend. You know, like I want someone who's not gonna bore me
or completely mute. Like if they have no voice. That would be awesome. That would be also awesome.
I think there are some men that, and women probably. Yeah, no, I know a lot
both
of
directions
women
is what I'm talking about. Those dudes who go wild.
Who really just need a wall. Like, really just need a person that they can project everything they want to, who will just like listen to them talk to themselves for hours and hours and hours.
I have dated these women.
And fuck them.
Yeah, I have dated. I have found myself with these women before because maybe honestly my mom might be like that, and there's like some of that, that sort of like
that talk slot, or is the wall
the talk slot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I would be the
You're
wall.
The wall.
Yeah, I would be the wall.
No, I'm for sure the wall.
Yeah.
Also.
So I think you kind of you sort of like
he's laughing because I'm the fucking wall.
As you become a wall long enough, you start looking for other people to throw shit at you. Whereas sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're okay with it. But I in those relationships was not okay with it.
Right. No, I'm not actually a wall.
Yeah.
But I do think that my boyfriend would be just as happy with a wall.
That talks back. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, why are we scared of these technological advances that are going to do this? Like, I'm telling you, Alexa will eventually get to a place where she can have a legitimately decent conversation.
Oh yeah,
that'll be that. You talk to that person, and by the way, maybe you don't talk to that person. Maybe you talk to a cat in Syria or whatever, like in your metaverse is going on.
Well, some people do talk to their pets.
Yeah,
like they're humans.
I actually really kind of think it's inhumane to own an animal on any level. I really do.
I mean. I see
on
your
any
point.
level. I mean, look, I understand people go like, yeah, sure, it's better to own a dog than it is to like let the dog die in a kennel. I hear you on that one, or whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to adopt and do all that.
Well, I think that through generations and generations and generations, dogs and cats are so domesticated that like they're not going to survive.
Yeah.
Out on their own.
I hear you. We've created a problem as a society.
Yeah. Because I mean, like dogs and cats, it's the same with it's the same as like the older generations complaining about younger generations. Like we've made them soft. Like
yeah.
Dogs and cats are fucking soft now.
They're
dude.
so fucking soft.
They're so sheltered.
People, you got to cut off their balls if they're It's like, what are we doing here,
Wolves
folks?
are looking at them like back in my day.
Take any of this shit. Yeah, absolutely.
You can't bully them anymore,
People will people will fuck your shit up over them. And I like it. Don't get me wrong. Who doesn't love a dog? They're awesome to look at.
They're
and pet,
adorable.
and they're fun to play with.
I fucking love dogs.
I'm just saying the part where it's like, listen, if you don't get rid of this dog's balls, it won't actually work as a pet. And you're like, all right, this seems like
that's fucked up.
Yeah, it seems kind of weird. It's like, all right, have you even tried talking to him about that? Like, I feel like if I was a dog and I knew that those were the options, I could get my shit together a little bit.
Yeah. Well, why don't and the fact that they don't do it the same as they do it, because I'd assume that you can do it the same way you do it with humans, like because they don't chop humans' balls off when they're
being just wild,
making them infertile, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't just chop your balls off. They go in and do a very delicate procedure. Why don't dogs deserve that? They're like, nah, it's a dog. We'll just chop their balls off.
Yeah, we'll give them two kind of like funny.
If we're gonna treat them like humans, go all the way.
Yeah.
Give them the same treatment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And if you're gonna give them prosthetic balls, give them fake tits too.
Do they give them prosthetic balls?
They do. They give dogs.
Dude, dog with fake tits is so funny.
It's like 8 fake tits.
Yeah. I think. Wow.
Yeah, it's not the worst idea we've had on this podcast so far. Truly.
No. No.
Um.
It's gonna happen one day. People are gonna, want their dogs to be as hot as possible.
Yeah, I look, I get it. I love a dog. I really do. I could never like put that onto something else. I could never put me onto this thing, or even just like, I don't know. I think some people they find a purpose, and I get the part where you're like, I'm going to train my kids that things die.
Yeah.
Which, listen, that's something. I hear you on that. It's a tool now. It's more of a tool than it is.
Yeah, it really is. It really is cruel to unload everything as a human onto an animal or a child.
Yeah.
So having children for the sake of having a purpose in life is unfair, really.
Yeah, I agree.
We really put too much pressure. And same with a dog, really the best we can do is find an adult human to do that to. And that's where we have our partners. We pick an adult human to dump all our shit onto.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And in turn, they dump all their shit on us.
Or there's a different arrangement. Like you dump your shit on them. They do HVAC work for you.
Yeah.
They can fix your car or so. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be some trade there,
Yeah. Wait, you're saying you dump all their shit on them and they also do something for you?
Yeah.
Dumping your shit on them is doing them a favor?
That's actually a good point. You're right. I guess I can't. This really work
you
that
dump
way.
all your shit on them. In turn, you're hot or something.
You're right. Yeah, that's right.
In turn,
I like that idea better.
In turn, you're rich.
In turn, I like that idea more.
But I think a lot of people do have the other way around. They're like, I'm going to dump all my shit on you, and you're lucky for it. Also, you have to fuck me every day, be hot, and rich.
Yeah. Relationships are very challenging, and they're pretty much the hardest thing on the planet, and they're
also, I think, very fulfilling, can be. They can be.
Yeah.
Because I think, in general, and maybe I'm off on this, but for me, I'm the most happy when I have the most connection, true connection, not just conversations with people or a lot of friends or whatever, but true connection, people that I can talk to and feel like I'm being understood and, all of that. And I think that that's truly what it's for, and that's why it's worth dealing, or maybe it's not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's worth dealing with all the other shit.
Yeah.
Because if you find someone who you're truly connected with, you feel a lot less emptiness.
I love that you were just saying some really beautiful things about relationships, and you were like, maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not. And as soon as you said maybe it's not, your boyfriend sat down by I could see him get into the room. She said she was going on for 5 minutes about the beauty of relationships, and the one part where she said it might not be beautiful, he just sat. That was right when he get in here. It was just perfect.
Our relationship is beautiful. But yeah, it's always going to be complicated when you put two people together.
I have an incredibly difficult time with relationships because I was, relationships are also about your culture, and my culture does not necessarily have a real sophisticated understanding of relationships, nor do they give them any credence, and it's very challenging.
I'm going to show how dumb I am and culturally not educated. Is it an arranged marriage thing?
Kind of it. I would say it's about a 75% arranged marriage, 25% choice. Nobody just and sometimes it happens, but rarely, at least in my parents' generation, was it hey, we met at a coffee shop. It was mainly her parents and their parents were they should meet each other and see if they like each other.
Do your parents do that? Do they try and set you up with people?
They used to. I'm a hot commodity to their friends and fam, because it's this is a citizenship we're talking about, folks. This guy, I could fuck that.
You
the
could
camera
have
died again.
no.
We're gonna wrap it up anyway. So let's. I mean, right? We're at
The
an
point
hour.
is, Ramsey could have the most beautiful woman in the land of
Palestine, Jordan, some parts of Syria, Lebanon. I'm in some tough competition. Lebanese dudes can speak French and shit, and they're kind of cool over there. But there's a lot of there's definitely a lot of attempts, but I just sincerely do not think. Well, my parents are now just like, just get married, please. But
to anybody,
anything, and anybody, anything, traveling sex, child, doll, whatever you want to do, just do something. But that's just not something I'm particularly interested in. It seems like a crazy, concept to me, which obviously, I mean, it's almost like hacky to say. Like,
right. No, I mean, we already talked about this. This is forever contract. It's
a big commitment. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm sorry about all the technical difficulties that we've experienced during this podcast, but I think it's added to it.
I kind of think so too.
I think this
will be a wild episode.
The ambiance. I feel like there was probably a lighting change during it because it went
dark.
from light to dark.
I was going to say, turn a light on in
here.
here.
The sun has gone down during this conversation.
It got real purple for a minute. There's no doubt about that.
It did. It's cool. It feels like we're in like a nightclub.
It does feel cool. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening. And this has been Nicole Becannon and producer Ramdog. On episode 3 of Everything Hurts, and we're out.
All right. What a hilariously fucked up episode.
Chaotic.
Let's
Was the camera still rolling?
It ended at the last 3 minutes. It actually kind of just gave us a reason to get out. So when that happens, I'll just like flip like the graphic or whatever and put like a thing on that says like maybe a counter to when the video comes back on or whatever in the middle. So it won't be a big deal. Yeah. Because people will already be in on the video and they'll have missed only so little of the video.
Yeah.
So that'll be fine.
Awesome.
You want to take a quick break or something?